Hey guys, welcome to NSS Sports. It's your boy Francis, and we are here today to preview Buccaneers versus Panthers Thursday Night Football. NSS Sports. This is your NSS preview. Week number 2, Thursday Night Football, has to be better and a lot more entertaining than last week's games. Packers versus the Bears. The Buccaneers and the Panthers are both coming off a loss. Therefore, both teams should be pretty fired up. Both teams should be looking to bounce back during week 2. I mean, the Buccaneers are playing their first game away, while the Panthers are getting a second straight home game, getting a second chance at redemption for losing to the Rams. It's a divisional game. They're usually really good to two teams that do know each other, and this has to be entertaining and way better than football than last time. And hey, it's football, so therefore anything could happen. First things first, taking a look at the Cam Newton and the Panthers. They fell short to the Rams on their comeback. They only lost by 3 points. And if you ask me, that is not a bad loss at all. This is a team that's recovering from injury. They had the season ended for them back in December. Cam Newton hasn't even played. Last time Cam Newton played was December 17th. That was, and he's showing into it. He's trying to put himself back into it. He threw for 239 yards week 1 on 25 for 38 in the passing game. He did not run the ball at all. I think he had maybe one rush. And they're really doing everything they can to take care of him. Now, Newton looked sluggish, and he should. Christian McCaffrey, on the other hand, oh my gosh, that boy was on fire. 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that 128 yards was just on the ground. It doesn't count. I think he had 81 through the passing game. He did have 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey is definitely the focus point of the Panthers offense. For the Buccaneers, Jameis Winston, it was such a good week for Jameis Winston, or such a good game in a sense for him. He officially became the Buccaneers franchise leader in passing yards, but he also threw 3 interceptions, and 2 of those got ran back. 2 of those became pick sixes. So it was pretty bittersweet because you're happy for the guy for accomplishing this big task and this big deal, but at the same time, you threw it away as well. The defense held the 49ers to scoring 1 touchdown, and the rest were all field goals, aside from the 2 pick sixes. That turned into 14 points. The final score was 14-31. 17-31. If you do the math right, the game would have still been a wide open game for the 49ers and for the Buccaneers. 2 pick sixes at the worst times ever. It really just kind of ruined the whole Jameis Winston flow that he had going into it. Now, some things that you do have to acknowledge going into the game is that whether stated or not stated, the Panthers are limiting, or I think they're protecting him, but they're limiting Cam Newton, and they're limiting their whole offense is being revamped to protect Cam Newton. And while yes, that is resulting into more offense and more of a workload for McCaffrey, he is handling it really well. And the good thing is that, when you have impact players, you always want to make sure that you take care of your players. The Panthers are lucky to have an impact player, but also have a young player on the rise. Did you see Christian McCaffrey's workout in the summer? That dude is ready for a workload. Another thing that the Panthers are doing is that they're bringing back in Greg Olsen and hoping that he can be a pretty big factor on offense, having already a proven chemistry with Cam Newton and the guys in the offensive line and everybody else. So Greg Olsen, while old, he should still be able to make an impact. The good thing for the Panthers defense has to be the simple fact they don't have to deal with a Todd Gurley. You don't have to worry about him. And yes, you can say that Todd Gurley did not do a lot last game, but at the same time, having that name, that guy on the other side, it does put a bit, it does focuses towards the run, because you don't want him to break out just in case. So for the Buccaneers, they're going to look to test out Cam Newton's shoulder, and they're going to try to limit their own mistakes. That should be the key to the game. When it comes down to it, even if anybody has been keeping up with football or keeping up with either of these teams, that has been a very big deal for the simple fact that Cam Newton did not throw for 20 yards last game, and everybody was on him. And if you ask me, the Panthers are doing the right thing by making sure that he is healthy enough. But at the same time, if you're the opposing team and you're scouting the Panthers right now, you want to test out Cam Newton, because at the end of the day, your job is to go in there and get a win, not really worry about Cam Newton's health or anything like that. For the Buccaneers need a turnaround year. If you guys did not know this, Winston, this is like a contract year for him. The Buccaneers have not been in the playoffs for over a decade now. They have only achieved 3 winning seasons since. You just look at the numbers, analytics into it. I like looking at them. I think it's important to go into it in every game and have a pretty good idea of what the team that they're facing and everything else. So I probably look way too much into analytics and everything else like that. But the point that I'm getting into is that while Winston is still a young QB in the NFL, he may be on the clock or the trade block for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are riding a 5-game losing streak dating back to last year when they actually beat the Panthers Week 13, 24-17. That game was the game that Cam Newton threw 4 interceptions, and guess what? The Buccaneers just signed the guy, that Andrew Adams, and he caught 3 of the 4 interceptions that Cam Newton threw. So, I mean, talk about going all out for Thursday game. Now, I mean, you don't just you're playing them, right? But you also pick up the guy that, you're going to remember as a QB. Cam Newton knows who Adams is. He has to know he threw 4 interceptions, 3 of them were to him. And he just got a contract by the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are not just playing the mental game, but it's not playing just the physical game, but they're also playing the mental game as well against the Panthers. And at the end of the day, that's going to be a big part of it. Also, you have to make sure that you're aware of that Jameis Winston cannot go out there and throw any interceptions, for the simple fact that he already cost him the game last game. He's on a contract here, and let's be honest here. This guy, as talented as he is, he's also kind of a troubled child, and I think the Buccaneers are. He's walking on very thin ice. Is what I'm trying to say. Now, if you guys leave a comment, remember to leave a comment with your picks on who's going to win Thursday Night Football. This is Nonsense Sports. My pick is the Panthers. I do believe that Christian McCaffrey has the edge on They do have the edge for the Buccaneers defense. I do think that Cam Newton will throw over 20 yards. And I'll tell you this, there's some players in every sport that you should not test out, right? And if it was imagine how healthier, how can I put this? Cam Newton will be healthier this game and more confident this game than last game. Last game, he didn't throw for 20 yards. This game, he's going to throw for 20 yards more than once. He also wants to test out his own shoulder, and I think that's what the benefit is. I do believe that the Buccaneers defense are going to test out they're going to test out Cam Newton, especially by signing the boy Andrew Adams. Congratulations, by the way. But at the same time, you're going to test him out, and you will fail. And that's the way that I'm going to see Thursday Night Football going. Congratulations to nobody. Thank you for watching Nonsense Sports. Congratulations to me for winning 5 out of 6 leagues. Let me know how you guys are doing on fantasy football. And if you guys want to talk about who should sit them or start them, hit me up on the DM or drop a comment and we'll talk some fantasy football. See you guys later. Happy nonsense and have a great sport.